This is a video for today, which is Friday the 9th of February. I'm just on my way back home, having done the second of 2 CX jobs today. So this won't be a very long video, because I spoke in my last video quite a lot about this morning's palaver, about me having a waiting time of, in the end, just about 2 hours from when I arrived when I left at my first drop off, and my frustration, I suppose, mild frustration at the lack of give when it came to the waiting time fee for an hour and 15 minutes, but that was way in the past now. I was thinking about that experience, and I'll share with you now my thoughts, which I've probably said before, to be honest, but I think there's no harm in repeating some things. The way I see this relationship with shippers is it's mutually beneficial, and I've got no problem in giving shippers the benefit of the doubt, or give and take with shippers, people that give us work, providing that I feel it's equally reciprocated. But for me, you need to have some sort of relationship for that to happen. You can't just, the first time you work for someone, start doing, giving people favours, or expecting to get favours off people, or people to, yes. And in my experience of today with the shipper that I had today, although I am grateful for the work, and I said that at the time, I probably will remember their name for future. And if I get a similar sort of squeezing of my service from them, I'm going to trust them a little bit less again. So once is fine. We're in February. It's a seller's market, isn't it? So, or if you think about, it's a buyer's market, isn't it? And so we just have to go with the flow, and I'm okay with that. But if it happens again, I'm going to think this is just a shipper doing it again, and a third time I think, well, I don't really work with that shipper anymore. But if there's a shipper that I sort of knows me, knows my name, knows my reputation, trusts me, and the same the other way around, then I will not think twice about doing a little favour for them, or going the extra mile. And it's not that I won't do that for a new shipper, but I won't do that every time without expecting some sort of reciprocation from them. So in this case today, I'm fine with what happened in the end. I got £20 extra for waiting for an hour and a quarter. Beyond the first half an hour, it's alright. I could have got a bit more, but at least I got that. The whole job was £170, so it got me a bit closer to home. There were nice people on the phone, the instructions were fine. So I'm not complaining about the job in total, but it's just, I will remember them for next time, and I will look out for whether they do something similar. It's the thing that got me was, we're only being given £30 for waiting time, so we'll offer you half of that. And I think that was, to put charitably, cheeky. Okay, let's move on. So I got offloaded and immediately made my way to my pickup in Hull again, which I'd booked like an hour beforehand. And I got there at 11:25 and picked up their load. The load that they were offering me was for a long wheelbase van. The distance of the job, loaded miles, was 91. And I got I bid £100 and got it. And so I picked it up. It was a 1 ton. It was only one pallet, but it was 1 ton, which is why it was a long wheelbase van job rather than a smaller van. So I picked that up and made my way to Nottingham. and it took me quite a while. The traffic was a little bit busy coming out of Hull. I'd stopped for some food because I'd run out of food, because I kind of trumped out twice this week. I've run out of food, so I went and had a McDonald's on the way down. And then, so by the time I got to the drop-off location, it was, let's look at my note, about 3 o'clock. They were really quick. I thanked the forklift driver, who's called Andy, for being so quick. Got my paperwork sorted out, took a photo, and I was on my way. I parked up outside the delivery point on the industrial estate, and I was looking for other jobs. And then reasonably quickly I got a job. I got it at about 3 minutes past 5. Got the call. No, 3 minutes past 3. And it was a pickup 26 minutes away, 14 miles away in Derby, picking up for a small van going to Silverstone. And the place I was going to, I have been to once before. I've been to Silverstone twice, but this is a particular place in Silverstone. And I picked it up, and I arrived at the collection site at 3:40. Made my way straight to Silverstone. Traffic was a bit busy, but I got there at 15 minutes past 5. So that was £60 for 70 miles for a small van. And it kind of didn't take me too far away from home. I've ended up about the same distance from home at Toaster than I was in Nottingham. So I've basically earned 60 quid, and I've not got any further trip home to do, although I have taken more time than otherwise. But £60 is probably 2 hours of my time. I think of it like that. So 3:15 to 5:15, yeah, it's about 2 hours, isn't it? Yeah, so I've just dropped that off in Silverstone, and now I'm making my way home, and I've got my stats sorted out for today, and I'll do a summary for the week as well. I've got one thing that I was thinking about today that I wanted to share with you guys, and it's not going to be very easy for me to get it out in words, not because it's emotional, because it's just hard to explain what I'm thinking about. So I'll just try and explain it, and some of you will understand what I'm saying quite quickly, and some of you will probably think, what is he talking about? So I'll just start rambling. It's about a feeling I had when I picked up my second job of the day. I was talking to the shipper, and I was just thinking about, as I do, I think about stuff quite a lot. And I was thinking about the CX app and the value of the CX app, and I want to talk about the value in CX, and I'll include in this the HX, haulage exchange as well. So I'm going to give you some of my personal views as a context, and then I'll go into the point. So my views are not, I'm not been in logistics for decades, but I have been alive for decades, so my views are based on how I perceive things. Obviously in the comments, if you know differently, you can tell me if you know that what I'm saying is actually false. But I wonder, the caveat is, the logistics industry is much larger than the CX stroke HX. But in my view, and I'll refer to it as CX app from now on, so the Transport Exchange Group's app, the software, is CX and HX, Courier Exchange and Haulage Exchange. And it's I think trusted as well as come into the fray to be another sort of part of the business. So we, as self-employed same-day couriers, we tend to have a lot of interfacing with the CX app, and my videos are basically through the frame of being a CX only driver. now that I've not got any other work to fall upon. But I am aware, this is the caveat, that that's not all of logistics. There's a whole other load of, there are other apps and there are other ways of earning a living in logistics, directly as employed drivers, or even just going out and getting customers and not having any sort of intermediary. But my view is that the CX is by far and away the biggest app for same-day couriers. And the way that I want to sort of pitch this is, imagine if you were to remove tomorrow CX and HX from the world. I believe that it would have a disruptive effect on the logistics industry. It wouldn't collapse as a result of it, but it would change it significantly for a period of time at least. I don't think there's any other app that I'm aware of for people like me where if you removed it, it would have any difference on logistics at all. The Same Day Courier Network app, Spotify there, it's Shipley, there's loads of apps that I've come across, and none of those apps, I think, if you remove them, would have any kind of tremors in logistics. But CX is so big now that I think it does move the needle if it was to do things, which means if it does things well, it improves things for the industry. If it does things badly, it can make things worse for the industry, if only a little bit. Now obviously this is my perception and you may disagree on that. You may think none of that's correct, so I'm basing what I'm going to say next on that context. So just to reiterate, you don't need to have CX to do this job. It's a same-day courier even, but for people like me, it's a brilliant app to use to get me into it and have the backload rates to get home and stuff. Now, I have previously spoken about collective bargaining for drivers as a kind of concept that I thought was a worthwhile concept to kind of share with the world. I don't think that's going to go anywhere for self-employed couriers. I think you probably need somebody who's very charismatic to lead that kind of campaign and get enough people behind them to kind of have some sort of collective bargaining. But my point was before, as drivers and equally as shippers, if you were to band together, to be fair, this is my brain going in between again. When I say collective bargaining, I kind of mean shippers as well as drivers, but I mean the good shippers and the good drivers, because I think we are mutually tied in this industry. So I suppose in the same way that I say CX to mean two things, CX and HX, when I say collective bargaining for drivers, I kind of mean collective bargaining for drivers and shippers as a whole, that are kind of independent from any other sort of big company, kind of little family-sized small enterprises that kind of still have values and customer service over profit. There's nothing wrong with profit, but I think there's a balance between profit and customer service and other things, and values and other things. So when I say collective bargaining, I'm kind of referring to the whole of the ecosystem of drivers and shippers that should be working together. So I want to kind of take that idea. Oh yeah, so just to finish it off, collective bargaining, I don't think it's ever going to happen in this industry because it's too dog eat dog. That phrase, I don't like that phrase, but there are too many people that just would take advantage of that situation and wouldn't join in. But it's not because it's not possible. It's just very difficult, and I certainly don't have the skills or the wherewithal to sort of start that sort of movement. But I definitely would support it. Right. So moving on. So I want to change today's discussion that I want to sort of have. I'm going to use a different phrase, which I think I've made up, and it's called collective valuing or collective valuation. And I think what I mean by that, this is why I'm going to find it hard to explain because it makes sense to me in my head, but when I say it out loud, it might sound stupid. I'll start off at a very small level at myself. I believe that I add value to the CX app personally, because of the way that I do this business, the way that I behave, the way that I work, albeit a very tiny level, I add value to that app because of the way that I do the job. Yeah. And I'm not trying to be big-headed, because that is so insignificant. That added value is so insignificant to not even be bothered worrying about. But if you're like me, or not even personality-wise, I mean, if you treat this job in the same sort of way that I think it should be done, and I think if you're watching this video, you probably are exactly like me in the way that you do your job. Because I can't imagine someone who's going to be dishonest and untruthful and co-loading would find any value in listening to my videos. And the same goes for the other YouTube videos that I like. This whole community of people that watch these YouTube videos, I suspect every single one of you, every single one of us, is adding our own bit of value to the CX app if we use it. Obviously, if you're retired or you don't use the CX app, you're not adding to the value of CX. But every one of us, when we behave in the right, what I call the right way, is helping to add value to that bit of software. And collectively, that value is significant, I would argue. And if I was a member of TEG, I might think that the value of my product is in the software, in the coding. And obviously there is some value in the software, but they really shouldn't underestimate the amount of value that we all as people contribute to that app by using it in the right way. And so this idea of collective value came to me, that on my own I have very little value added to CX, but it is there, absolutely. But as a whole, all of us together, we add an enormous amount of value. And obviously I'm including there the good shippers as well as the good drivers. It's not just about drivers v shippers. So I just wanted to kind of try and express that idea and see whether it made sense when I said it out loud, and just to kind of get us to all kind of value ourselves a bit better, and understand that we as individuals might not feel we matter, but as a collective community we do have a voice, we do add value, we do make a difference. Yeah, I think that's all I want to say about that. What about this week? Oh yeah, so this week it's obviously Friday now, so that's the day. I'm not working on Monday. Next week I'll be doing hopefully 4 days work. I think I found a strategy that works in February for me. I think I already said it in the last video, but at risk of repeating myself too much, just to summarise, I'm going to kind of go with longer distances, but get like £1 a mile for £1 a loaded mile plus for what I can do, and that will involve me tramping out more than I perhaps would ideally like to do, because there's not enough work to get in and out in a day. But I think that's what I'm gonna persevere doing for a bit and seeing how that works. I think that's my strategy anyway. So, figures for this week. Let's need to get the spreadsheet open on the phone. So, just for full disclosure, the spreadsheet I'm opening is on my phone, which is the same phone that I'm using for my map to get home. So I have to now kind of try and remember now the right roads to take to get home. And I do that, I sacrifice my clear route home for your benefit. I hope you appreciate this. I'm giving you stats here, and then I might get lost as a result of it. There you go. So, today, 267 miles I've driven. and I've worked. I will have worked when I get home. I will have worked for 11 hours today. I'm basing my mileage cost on 16.17 pence per mile driven, which means that today I will have spent £43.17 on fuel. Today I earned from 2 CX jobs £100 to go from Hull to Nottingham, and £60 to go from Derby, roughly just outside Derby, to, I think I've got down the wrong road, to Silverstone. Just checking the road. I'm not going on the M1. Let's just see. Let's quickly go back to map. Sorry about this. Oh no, I'm on the right road. I've got to pick up the A45. So remember that. Right. Where were we? About money. So £160 that I've earned today. That means after fuel, I've earned £117 today. As I said in a previous video, I'm not worrying about targets in this time. I'm just glad to get back on the road. This for my 3 days' work this week, I have averaged after fuel costs £188 each day, which I'm quite pleased with, bearing in mind my January was really tough and really bad. In terms of the amount that I've earned in total gross, that comes to £715 over 3 working days. I've worked this week a total of 30.5 hours, and I've driven this week a total of 931 miles in 3 days. And finally, on fuel this week, I've spent £150.54 on fuel. £150. So we just concentrate on this roundabout. I need to look out for the A45. So is it the first junction? Don't think so. A45 East, yes. Oh, we are. Success. I'm in the right lane, I think. Anyway, that's that. So I'll bring this video to a close. Quite a short one for me. I did. If you've missed them, I put some videos up of my snowy trip over the North Pennines, which was great countryside to drive in, as in to look at, but a bit stressful to drive in. But it was quite nice to look back on that from Wednesday. So if you are one of those amazing professional shippers or drivers out there, I wish you every luck this year. All the best. Thank you for watching my video. Farewell.